playground experience. I have here with me my co-host April Williams. Welcome, if this is your first time to the playground. Welcome. Take a seat, take a swing, take a sandbox or whatever it is, and get comfortable. Today's topic, what we're going to talk about is about this time out that I'm noticing. This is something that I'm seeing as a trend, which is really being able to help us to be able to stay true to ourselves and to really honor ourselves, especially with all these energies and these shifts. I'm looking and I'm seeing on different things where they're talking about ascension that's occurring and happening. And with having that ascension process going on, I know it's causing us to kind of go up and down with that. And another thing that's really what we're trying to change here, and I'm seeing with these Olympic athletes here, is all of the young ones are really now coming in very strongly saying, hey, you know what, I can stand and I can stand no more. Each one of them have like this performance thing that they're doing for the Olympics and the pressure of it. And I'm finding them being so courageous where they're at the point where they're saying, you know what, I tried it, but no, I can't keep on doing it. It's really showing their vulnerability, and I know I put on Instagram and even on the YouTube site and channel as well, where um, that is this vulnerability. And I remember so many times beforehand, it used to be either a parent or somebody else will push you and say, oh, no, just suck it up, go back out there and get us a solid tens. And, I love how now they're saying, you know what, I actually have no more. I have no more to kind of get out of me or to give you in order to create this performance that you asked me for. And I know all of them. I thought about what's the name, Shakari Richardson, and what's her name, Naomi. Am I saying it right? The tennis player. As well, where they're saying, you know what, is when the pressure's on is getting so much that I have to really honor myself. And a lot of times beforehand, up until now, we had not really been a society where we really, especially when you talk about divine feminines, where we actually put ourselves first. And this is something that I think is very honorable. I applaud these young ladies for kind of taking the charge and saying, you know what, I'm going to change this trend or whatever ideology or philosophy that we have been doing before, which is to, sweep it under the rug or suck it up and then go out there even though you're not 110% behind that. So I think this is really great. A thing that they're even putting out there as role models, even too, about this mental health wellness that's going on. And I think they said this is for African American mental health month and awareness month. So again, for any of us minorities, and like I told mom, anybody that's on a job that you have to perform is really, the pressure is really truly on for you. So this is something that I said that's really, again, going against the curve. And I've seen a lot of people that are waking up and just saying, I'm, really going to follow my heart. This is something that we really truly are being led to do. I know with the energies, like I said, it's been a lot of wonky things. And April can kind of tell you a little bit more about her experience about what's going on with the she's gone. Oh yeah, and she's back. Yeah, with the air energies for her as well, and we can continue on. So what's happening, April?
All right. So, hi. We are tired and we ain't gonna take it. And we know we need a break.
Yeah.
Um, we've been at this high adrenaline state, considering what's happening externally, right? And then we're going internal with the whole, okay, healing and clearing and healing and clearing. But it's happening on such a deep level. I mean, we've got 4 or 5 major planets still in retrograde, right? And
Yes.
these are the deepest resets that we've had. And I know we keep saying that, but that's because it's still happening, right? We
Mm-hmm.
haven't actually started to move forward. You see, we became aware of retrogrades when they started talking about Mercury in retrograde and all this stuff. But then once you really find out the inner workings of like Saturn and Neptune, Neptune's a really nice, dreamy one. But a lot of us are facing our pains right now. A lot of us are facing these deep seated issues that we're ready to release. Um, but we haven't yet. And we're still trying to figure out all of it so we can fully let it go. Um, One of the things that I talk about, and I don't know if people really are getting in line with it or understanding it, but it's not cutting of cords, it's removal of cords because certain things are so sticky. And even when you remove something, you have to take away your addiction to it. And people are finding out that they're actually addicted to these chaotic states, especially after um, we haven't been allowed to see each other or connect or all these things. We have all of these social cravings that we used to use for distraction.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're in a state of, well, okay, were those useful? A lot of people I see being really self reflective and also very mindful and respectful of their boundaries. So when she brought up it being, I think um, it's minority, they call it, but it's like the people of the global majority, technically. And the fatigue that comes from being um, on the planet right now, right? All the clearing right now, the suppression of women is still happening, the different hardships that people are going through, why people are still dealing with issues of homelessness. There's all this scare of illness, but there's also a whole movement, a whole side of taking back your health, taking back your care. And I think that's that shift in the divine feminine coming into power is saying, I'm not going to run myself like a man does. Like I have a little son. I did not know. I knew what I was like as a little girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a brother next to me growing up. You know, it's just me. And then after I was 8, I got like a sister, right? And I do have a little brother, but you know, he's much younger than me. And it's also a whole nother family dynamic, which we'll get into on another episode. But um, the whole point of what I'm saying is little boys run. They have so much energy. You guys can tell me whether your children have that type of vibe, if there's a difference between the boys and the girls and how that goes. But as a child, this little boy runs on so much energy. And in fact, he's like warm and hot at night because he runs on so much energy.
Energy. Okay.
And so that's basically the shift of you think of that that our old paradigm, our old like kind of patriarchal. I don't want to say patriarchal so much as because it's been stigmatized, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was a there was a benefit. That's why it became that way. It kind of became toxic, and now we're shifting out of it. And the goal is to stay in that balance between the masculine and feminine energies, right? So I'm just talking about the observation of the current energies. So the shifting in of the divine feminine is we cannot run like a man runs his energy. That we are not doing the shipping moving company, right? We've been pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing all of our resources, even looking at our planet and all of her resources as well. And we need to take a time and reset time and actually assess what we have left and then how do we grow what we have left. Um, One of the things I think about is food sustainability, right? Global food sustainability. And the thing that has happened after post industrial America, you hear about the Dust Bowl, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because all they did was in put tons of fertilizers, tons of pesticides, grew as much crops as they could, strip the land of all its actual nutrients, and then the topsoil was barren. It wasn't alive. It wasn't cultivated. Just like if you don't take care of um, your skin, it becomes dry, and it starts to peel, and then you have other health issues and stuff sneak in. These things are happening for global food sustainability. It's also happening for the psyche, for the mind, for the body. And so if you keep pushing and trying to make it do more and more and more every day without giving your body those rest days, giving your body that self-care, giving yourself time to actually like yourself and be okay in your body, like, constantly beating yourself up all the time, constantly saying, I'm correcting my generational curses and XYZ. It's like, it doesn't have to be so harsh
Yeah.
and dry. It can actually be a very soft and delicate shift. So it's more like it's encouraging us to be strong in our ability to say, enough is enough, before we get to the breaking point. I mean, I worked so hard once when I was younger, as a chef in the kitchen, and I was working anywhere from 14 to 18-hour days. Like, it was kind of ridiculous, like 7 days a week or so. And I would have a day off every 2 weeks, until one day my body decided it was going to twist its own ankle so badly that I couldn't even move without crying.
Mm.
Now, I didn't do this on purpose, because I would never cause myself pain on purpose. There's a point where I couldn't even tweeze my own eyebrows. I was like, I will not hurt myself.
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
I hired someone anyway. Tame these wild this caterpillar. But that's what will happen, in the sense of, that's a reflection of, if your body says slow down, you listen to it, or it slows you down. If your body says need to eat healthier, you listen to it, or it'll show you. Hey, baby.
Hey, Kathy D.
Hi guys.
Hi.
She's such a trooper. She's so hardcore.
She sure is. She's like, I'm committed. I'm coming on here, damn it.
And here we are, self care.
Oh, let me tell you, it's been fun. The actual parts didn't hurt. It's where they took out the breathing tube. They scratched up the
Yeah.
throat. So
Okay.
it'll be a lot of nodding and in agreement. So
Okay. All right then. Well, hey, your essence and your presence is all that's needed. It's a strong, powerful force. Anyway, the
thank you.
spiritual dream team. I have that in TG. Thank you, TG. Yeah. Yeah. So you know what? That's what I was thinking, because when I was comparing to what was happening with the Olympic team, and that I was like, you know what? I was like, how can I make the connection when I was thinking about it from the Olympics added on to also what's happening with us as twin flames? And it's like it's the same thing, like you said about the performance. I gotta make sure I do my shadow work. I gotta make sure that I find my mission. I gotta make sure that I am trying to clear my twin flame energy. I gotta make sure I clear my energy. I gotta make sure my chakras are aligned. And after a while, that's a performance. You get kind of bogged down by all this, what I got to do, I have to do. And you have to give yourself permission to say, hey, it's a time out. Even us as leaders, coming up with ideas, coming up with programs, coming up with the videos and editing and all that stuff. It gets to a point that, just like we did last week, we was like, okay, this time out. I mean, because I could have put a video up, and then I was like, you know what? If it's self care, it's self care. Time out, take a break out off, and then we'll come and resume the next, playground. It's something about that. It makes you feel, I guess, as a leader, and that's how they're probably feeling too, as well. That guilt about you taking time out. Am I going to miss out on something by doing it, taking the time out? How are other people going to perceive me as I'm taking the time out? I'm sure that's what those young ladies were thinking, because there are so much things riding on them. But another thing I'd like to say, and I don't know, and this might be kind of controversial too as well. I'm noticing, to me, and you all know, I think the younger generations, in some ways, are a little bit more fragile than we are. And I don't know if that could say even also as far as perspective, because again, I could go on using not devil's advocate, but let's look at the other side of the coin too as well to say, okay, now hold on one second. Why are there so many young ladies saying I can't take it? It's too much. Is that
Well,
something? Yeah, okay, go on.
there is a beautiful part of it where um, it's a little bit choppy, it's a little bit balanced, and we are talking perspectives, right?
Right,
Because we're so used to oscillating between extremes. Like they say, they're very. Um, I've been reading a lot about how they're doing all the stuff where they're trying to prevent, like, I don't know if you got that note memo from Facebook about the extremist behavior type thing.
no,
So
I,
they're trying to point out extremists. They're trying to see if you're against the norm. You're trying to see if you push buttons, but the simple types of revolution are taking times for yourself, right? Because they
right,
want you to believe the go 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 of modern society is just keep pushing, just keep going, and something will happen, and you will get your carrot, and then you'll get your A, and then you'll, whatever.
mm-hmm,
You'll be
Mhm.
considered a good mom or good person or a good wife or, whatever it is that you're aspiring to be, instead of actually getting to a point where we have words in our language where I found out there are words that don't exist in English, which I think are really cool. But it's like it takes like a paragraph to describe this word that doesn't exist in our language, which is everything's just fine. You don't have to like worry about it. And it was something in Tagalog. It was like a Filipino word. And I was
mm,
like, wait, what, that exists? That's a word? Like that's a concept? Like, and then when I
Mhm.
realized, oh, that's a thing. Like I could just let everything just be cool and not have to worry or not have to be agitated or not have to be so driven without feeling like I'm not enough if I'm not driven, right? And I think that has something to do with the idea of scarcity,
mm,
right? When you think time is limited, then you have to rush everything. But when you accept that it's all part of the experience, then you can enjoy that. And part of that means feeling all the feels. So, from the masculine perspective of the kids, from the old paradigm, right, the toxic masculine perspective of the kids, the old paradigm is they're too soft, right?
right,
And then the other the ultra like warped feminine is allow our kids to feel everything. They should be able to do, they should be able to
mm-hmm,
express all they've got going on inside of them, even if they're burning down the grocery store,
right,
and it's like, okay, there's somewhere in the middle where there's not toxic, they're balanced, they're heard, where okay, the kids are definitely more expressive, but are they able to understand themselves better and then transition into the next set of emotions, right? Because you actually do need to let it out of the body. Part of
Mhm.
the toxic is hold it in,
mm-hmm,
right? And instead of just releasing. And I mean, look at all of the gastrointestinal issues that our countries have
yes,
based on holding shit in, literally,
Mhm.
right,
right?
And one thing too that I'll say real quick is, and it's April is so on point with this because we're seeing this so much in mental health, and especially with young adults, tweens, teens. They are, yes, they're expressing themselves, but while they're burning down the grocery store. And the thing that we have to teach them to do is one, express themselves properly,
mm-hmm,
because they have to be and respect. And respect's a funny word, and you have to earn respect and all that. But they have to respect themselves. When I say they have to respect themselves, because if they're just going to fly off the handle and say all of these terrible or just random things. I mean, it's like we talk about the journaling, the brain dump. Well, they're just going to verbally brain dump on whoever's closest.
Mm.
And it's going back to that, hurt people, when you've been wounded, if you don't take care of it, you bleed on the first person you're near. And so we've got to be able to I think as the older generation, express to these kids how we can um, say what we need to say, how we can express our emotions in a timely manner and in a healthy manner.
Mm.
Because that's what happens. We everything gets pushed down because that was the strong way to do it, but that was really the toxic way to do it. And then what happens when you push it down long enough? It has like a spring effect, and we wind up being volcanoes of emotion,
True.
and you get upset over the slightest thing, and the next thing you know, you're standing in a parking lot screaming about when you were 10 and having to move houses. It's just, it all comes up at once, and I think it's something everybody needs to work on. And as we do the self-care, which is so important right now, like you were talking about, taking the break and then feeling guilty about it, when we are in this point where we all are, that we have manifested, that we have put our faith in, where we know what we know what we know, that's actually where we do step back, because clearing the chakras for the other isn't healthy. We've got to take care of ours, because we should now be in that mindset where what is mine, the universe has already given me, and it'll come in the right time. There we go. So at that point, that's where we've got to get rid of that guilt. And social media has a fine way of doing that. And not only guilting us about push, go, 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 be at the cutting edge, be here, be there. They also want you to spend money. They play upon that lack mentality, that lack fear. Well, see, if you don't spend, $20, the dog. What, Sassy? Really, you don't like that? If you don't spend $20 on, say, a Facebook ad that's going to run and reach all these people in your social da 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 da, you're not going to get clients. Well, I have plenty of friends that have amazing businesses that have done that and not gotten one single client. But when they become themselves and
Right.
they get out of that lack mentality and they believe what is coming to them, what they deserve, want, love, feel, and the universe has given it to them, and it'll be here in divine time. And they believe that, and they believe they're the best one for that situation, that they are the one coming into that any other outside factor is just a factor, and oh well. And like, for example, the DM, if the DM would come and say, I've just really got to work this out with the karmic, I can't do this now. Okay, great, how can I help you? And I'm going to tell you what, right now the DM goes, huh? Because you're the best choice. You're the one. You're the square peg that fits in that square hole. None of the round pegs do, and you know it, and you're
I
confident
would
about it.
say, I'm going to put a caveat on that, because if it is not in your wheelhouse to help these people, do not help these people. Do not help them if you feel obligated to make yourself
No,
feel or look good, or feel like being the good, nice lady or the good dude. Like, if you are friend zoned, but you're trying to make a love, you know what I mean? Then you're going to have to be realistic about it.
right. Well, you have to
And
be in that place of that you are so confident and that you believe that this or something better. So you know what? Okay, sucker, if that's what you want, go for it, because this or something better is coming to me and I deserve this. It's where you get rid of that
like
fear of
it's
loss.
like a limitation, right?
Right.
Because we always want it to be a certain person or a certain job or a certain
Certain
we want
house, certain
our
career, certain
our
body
videos
style.
to be edited perfectly.
Right.
She said, anyway. um what's that? Oh, what's
There we
that
go.
smell? Is that my own bullshit? Okay. um
Is that your detector going off?
yeah. So that being that you know it's okay, it's okay. And you got to let that out, right? Because that's something you're holding on to. There's something, a little spark of hope or whatever, but it's too much attachment. There's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
codependency on that factor, that thing,
That's
or
it.
that job or that space. It doesn't make you happy. You make you happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not having the thing you want is often a test to allow you to create space for more, or to close, um, kind of like it's almost a childish quality that everything that I want is supposed to be for me right now when I want it.
No, it
And
ain't.
so the maturity is, it takes time.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes things come fast, right? But
Yeah.
sometimes things take a while. Like when you're hungry and you're ordered at a restaurant versus going to fast food, may take a little bit extra, but boy, are you going to savor it. And you know what? Hunger is the best spice. So when you
Mm-hmm.
finally do get that lover, or get that job, or like, get in that space, it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
so much more enjoyable. It becomes so much more rich, the capacity. But if you're holding on to the resentment of not getting what you wanted, you're not even going to see or even be able to enjoy the space where you are, the space that you've created, the new job, the new mindset, the new body, whatever it is that you've created.
And Reiki does a wonderful example of that when you look at how you go into the energy, where you're a conduit for the energy and you just ask it to go where it is needed, not where you think it's needed. You have no control. It's just where it feels it's needed in a certain situation. And you do it on yourself or on someone else. And it's amazing how, even though as you then scan the body with it, you don't feel it in that area, within a matter of a few moments or a few hours, it has affected where the person or where yourself you had the complaint. And it's just like, it's that divine timing. Just let it flow where it's supposed to, because it is going to come around and do what it needs to do.
And what's interesting about it is it's a non-attachment. It's like when you're getting when you're
Mm-hmm.
manifesting the parking spot. Same thing with Reiki, right?
Yes.
It's like, I want this so much, right? It blocks it from happening.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're like, what, it would be cool if this felt better. And then if you're not thinking about it, yes, it's allowed to feel better. But if you're constantly thinking this hurts, this hurts, this hurts, this hurts, it's still hurting. You're not thinking or even giving it the space to release the pain. What's beautiful about Reiki, because when I learned how to do Reiki, and anyone can do Reiki, it's a
Mm-hmm.
very awesome system. It teaches you, there's something about our mindset or how our society, wherever we are. So if you're not from this particular part of the country or world or whatever, please let us know. Type it in the comments. Let us know on your future viewings, where you're from and these ideas in your particular culture. But Reiki allowed me to step out of the everything has to come from me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you push your energy to help people. You're pushing your energy to heal and love and entertain and, blase blah, right? To be there for others, as opposed to just allowing the energy to flow through you. And it's not even about you. It's actually like all the energy that's already there. You're just kind of focusing the potential of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice because it's infinite. You're not tapping yourself out. That's what's beautiful about Reiki for sure, is it's one of those energies. I mean, you can call it Reiki, you can call it Shi, you can call it Diksha. There's a lot of different energy forms that are similar but slightly different. They run through different channels in the body. But this is just a universal energy that is everywhere. So if you go back to our first year of series. Oh, you want to watch some slime? Okay, well, just a minute.
Hold,
um,
please.
you exactly. I'm like, slime, slime, slime. So you can't. Okay, give me a second because this actually is a thing. Slime has become a thing, people.
Slime is a big thing. Yeah. I was going to ask Stephanie Gibbs to be on here, so this is a good time for me to segue. I thought on my apparatus that I'm on, I was able to share the screen. But what I will do is share it on the community tab on Divine Unisouls 11. She gave some good tips about if you're feeling burnt out
Mm-hmm.
in any area, whether you are mentally on the job, family, dealing with family dynamics, even with the twin flame, the journey, or whatever. Because she is a specialist, a family counselor as well. So she wrote just a little blurb about what it is about taking a time out, because that's what I had titled it, uh, today's videos, which was again, it's saying taking a time out is essential when you are feeling overwhelmed or on the verge of burnout. Burnout is the state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by excessive and a prolonged stress. This twin flame journey can cause mental, emotional, amen, spiritual, and some physical exhaustion. Not some, it can. So this can lead to giving up on the journey yourself and of your twin. So she gave some. I gotta put my specs on because I can't read this. And she gave some signs of if you're burnt out. Here, and it's in a beautiful little, not meme, but it's like a little post. I know it's a better thing. It's called infograph. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for that, it hit me what it is, and that's another thing, Captain, with essentially your brain. You have this brain as well during these essential times. So this is some of the signs. So she's saying that some key signs of burnout is physical loss of increased appetite, changes in sleep, getting sick more frequently, more accidents, anything from bumping into things to car accidents, and headaches or explain aches and pains. Mental and emotional signs: boredom, irritation, feeling checked out or numb, difficulty concentrating, difficulty remembering things. Hey, wait a second. What's she trying to say? I'm burnt out? No, it's fine. Mood swings, anger outbursts, difficulty having fun or relaxing, thinking about work constantly. And if you change that to twin flame, thinking about the journey constantly, dreading having to return to work, dreading to have to do the work, or dreading about the connection. That's another way you can put the twin flame spin on that. Fantasizing about completely switching careers, fantasizing about moving out of the state or country, or you could say fantasizing about 2.0 or 2.5 or 10.10, and fantasizing about moving out of the state or being someplace else. That are key signs of burnout. Interesting. While I was watching, I mean, this reading this, I was thinking about it. I was like, oh my God, some of that stuff we say, oh, that's ascension signs. So it's like a person that is like you need to really kind of sit with yourself to see which one is it. Is that really truly ascension, or are you burnt out with where you are with the 3D or even the 50 aspects of things? She also put down here 12 stages of burnout. So the 12 stages of burnout is this: stage one, excessive ambition; stage two, working harder; stage three, neglecting own needs; stage four, displacement of conflicts and needs; stage five, no longer any time for non work related needs; stage six, increasing denial of the problem, decreasing flexibility of thought and behavior; stage seven, withdrawal, lack of direction, cynicism; stage eight, behavioral changes, psychological reactions; stage nine, depersonalization, loss of contact with self and own needs; stage 10, inner emptiness, anxiety, addictive behavior; stage 11, increasing feeling of meaninglessness and lack of interest; stage 12, physical exhaustion that can be life threatening. And then she's got a nice little graph here: how you overcome burnout, here, and it's got a cute little young lady, but I don't know. You could be able to see. I have to put that there. Cute little young lady here, and the young here, and she's kind of in her Zen space. Which is the way you could do that is to consider talking to your boss or colleagues. Resist taking work home. That's true. I know as a teacher, I had to stop that because all I was doing was writing them papers from work to and wasn't even touching the damn paper. One of my wise seasoned teachers like, you wasting gas with that. Leave that paperwork at home because when you get there, you fall out and you don't have time to grade anything. So that's true. Write down your stressors, problems, and problem. Solve solutions for each. Consider job options like a new job, changing your hours, duties, meditation and exercise. Strive for work life balance. Use some sick leave. Take a mental health day. I said that too. I said I think they need to. I would love to start a campaign where we need to have like just a mental wellness day. It don't interfere with your sick days. It don't interfere with vacation days, and it don't interfere with sick personal business days. We need to have that on the books, period. Because sometimes you just need to do it and not have an excuse, as well. Talk it over with friends, family of your or your counselor. Journal, that's Kathy D's specialty, and practice gratitude. Say no and work on boundaries. April talked about that. Connect with nature. Yeah, going outside is great. Increases self care. Have a device free time each day. So, like you pick some time and you don't pick up the phone. Take adequate breaks. Socialize with non work people. Work on sleep. Get enough sleep each night. Yoga relaxation. Speak to your local health shop about supplements like iron, magnesium, vitamin B complex, and valerian. Go to your uh, GP. What is this? Go for your GP for or general practitioner for a general checkup to see about your levels too, and delegate work tasks and don't take any extras. Yes, that's true. And drink water and eat. I can't see what this word is. What is this? Whoa, I don't know what they saying. Just drink water and eat well. Okay, I see it. They got an interesting title. Yeah, I can't see that word. Lastly, how to set boundaries for yourself when you talk about twin flames and others. Boundaries with yourself sound like when I wake up, I'll take the first 10 minutes to stretch, breathe, and journal before getting on my phone. I will be fully off of my work email and that's fun. That's right, nephew. That's fun. Okay. I will be fully off of my work email and my days off. I will take time to make plans to be sure I have the time, space, energy to do them. I will pause and celebrate my small victories like cooking for myself, getting to bed early. When blank, insert a friend or family calls me, I and I feel overwhelmed, I will wait to respond. And lastly, she says how to set boundaries. I value creative flow, so I need minimal calls and meetings, and I will honor by scheduling only when critical. I value quality time, so I need focused one on one connection. I and will honor it by weekly date nights without technology. Another example is if you say I want to focus and I value focus and depth, so I need a few hell yes projects and will will honor by saying no to everything else. That sounds like April there. Next one, I value my well-being, so I need rest, play, and off hours, and I will honor by no work on weekends. Now that sounds like me. Okay, and so these are all nice, beautiful tips. Stephanie Gibbs will be on the 8-8 event too, and lending her expertise on the family panel that we're going to have as well. So Those are great. What is it? Oh, I know you. Can you speak? I know I'm not gonna push you about this new
No,
thing. Okay.
I mean, those are wonderful, wonderful things, and we can add on those. Follow your intuition. There are certain things. There are certain times and never underestimate. And this is one that I have literally just learned in the last probably month. When you're reading something, reading a sign, reading an article, whatever, or hear something and think you hear it wrong. Best example is last Saturday. Um, the whole family was going into Shipshewana, which is the Amish section in Indiana. And for some reason, I don't even, it said root something, and I could have sworn it said rhubarb.
Mm,
Now, if you don't know what rhubarb is, it's kind of a red celery. It's tart. Usually it's used in a strawberry rhubarb pie.
yes.
So I see this, and then mom and I get on a discussion about rhubarb. My grandfather was a big fan of rhubarb. My mom used to make strawberry rhubarb pies. There was a connection. My family, as I have learned in the last 2 years, so much of my family literally came from that area of Indiana and then moved to Illinois. So I was like, that's just crazy that they're gonna, send me the word rhubarb.
Mm,
But, we had this wonderful talk about my family and where they came from and how they got there. And, I thought, okay, great. Well, then we went out for lunch. Dessert of the day, strawberry rhubarb pie.
wow.
And so I was like, I gotta have it. I mean, I looked right at mom and I'm like, I gotta have that. I can't not have it. And you know what? If nothing amazing happened, I mean, sparks didn't fly out of my ears or anything like that, but it was a comfort. It was like my ancestors and my family that had passed on saying, we're here. We're
Mm,
here. We got you. And the things that we taught you are going to come in handy, and you need us.
yeah.
Um, and so it was a wonderful thing. So like as Stephanie's, talking about taking time for yourself and taking these breaks. One is follow your intuition is a wonderful way when we add a little more metaphysical stuff to that. Follow your intuition. And also don't get so hung up on what your mission is. And that's so, that was me. I was so hard onto that. I was like, okay, it's hypnotherapy, it's life coaching. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. And it came out that with the Reiki, I didn't get it to teach it. I didn't get it to do on other people other than my family, because I had sent a message to, and anybody in the practitioners listening in Muncie, you missed out. I had sent all these emails out, saying, you know, giving him my credentials, thinking that I'm like, okay, I'm a professional and I want you to see that this, this isn't just some craziness. I understand the importance of it. And I'm hoping you can, work with my family. I wasn't asking for any kind of discount or anything, just trying to build rapport. Not one person responded.
Mm,
Not one, not a phone call. I called, I emailed, nothing. So I got to it and I was like, well, I've always enjoyed it. I have a friend that does it here. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead. And I got in touch with her and she was like, yeah, I do the workshops, I do them online. You can do this. It takes about, she said, if you really push and since you're out of school, you can do it in about, 4 or 5 weeks.
mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay. So I went through it and really got into it, really was enjoying it, doing it just on myself. And then got up there and mom was like, okay, my back's been killing me. You fixed my legs last summer. You got to help me with my back. I'm like, okay, cleared the space the best I could. It is hard when you're in a home where there's a lot of energy moving around. So I
Mm-hmm.
know it wasn't at the strongest, but I was able to help her. And then the next thing I know, my one sister, who is, shall we say, a little on the fence about it, she calls it Kathy stuff, um, came to me and said, my back hurts and I need your help. Me? Huh? Was it my help?
Okay.
And so she had me do the Reiki on her. And so it was like I never expected to enjoy it so much because, and as you know, when you do hypnotherapy, it does take a lot of energy out of you.
Yes.
And that's the beautiful thing about the Reiki when you're just the conduit for it and you're just letting it work where it needs to go. And you're really actually helping people more because you're not draining yourself, but you get a healing in the process.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and I would have never looked at that as a mission. And then on top of that, where the DM's not so sure on hypnotherapy, you know, some of this other, he's like, life coaching, okay, yeah, I guess you could do that. But now for some reason with the Reiki, he is like, that's a thing. I like that.
Okay.
And it's like, so never, don't be glued to anything. Just know they all work together and they do. You know, the hypnotherapy, you can put somebody in a hypnotic state and work on the hypnotherapy, what they want to work on. And as they're doing the visualizations of the hypnotherapy, you can then take that time and actually do the Reiki on their body. It can be done at a distance. They can work hand in hand. People that, you know, would come to you for life coaching, for, you know, job changing and things like that, and really um, being able to open up to certain situations. You know, you're able to do that with the hypnotherapy and the Reiki, and they all really work hand in hand. So don't be, you know, it has to be this, because it doesn't. You have to let the universe move you, lead you, because if you put cement blocks on your feet, you know, you're going to actually watch it move and lead right onto somebody else. And all three of us have talked about that. Ideas we've had, things we've gotten from source, from God, from, you know, whoever you believe. And then we watch somebody a month later come out with what we had been so passionate about,
Out
but we
right.
didn't move on.
Yes, yes, yes. That is so true.
And that's kind of the universe saying that that person or someone better. So
Right.
we
and
have to
and
understand.
it's and it's okay, right? The whole
It
point
is.
is like the whole point is to not be attached to that
Right.
thing, right? Because if it was
hmm
fleeting for you, that means you wouldn't have been able to carry it to its true fruition,
Or
That's
right? To
maybe
what
this
it's true.
person has a better idea or a stronger passion behind it,
Yeah. So
and
it
they're
would get
able to
to
take it.
like it would be able to be to its truest form.
hmm
right.
So because the point is to not feel like you have to be overwhelmed, right?
Right.
And to say what you can do and what you can't do, and when to take the breaks that are necessary. And if it's not for you, it's not for you, and when it's for you, it's for you. Like,
hmm
but there is also you blocking yourself. That's just a
Right.
whole nother episode,
Right.
hmm
which I think we've recorded probably.
Yeah.
So finding out what is your truest passion only comes from a space of rest and clarity.
hmm
um, and you cannot burn yourself out and grasping at straws think you're going to find your miracle cure. You're going to need to take that time to care for yourself. What's
hmm
enjoyable? If it's not enjoyable, it's most likely not sustainable, and so you're going to feel even more burnt, to not get to the level of burnt out. um, there's a beauty in taking that time too to reflect. There's a beauty in taking that time to actually rest. um, and I know that everything out there is saying go go go, advertise advertise, buy buy buy, buy a concept, buy an idea, buy a life. Sometimes you just need to slow down and remember that you actually have power and knowledge too.
hmm
You
And
are.
it's very enjoyable when you don't do it through fear. When you
Yes.
release that fear, I'm just like you're saying, you just let it go, you let it flow.
And it can be complicated depending on your
hmm
astrological makeup, depending on how you were raised, all the layers that it takes to
Mhm.
get through to actually calm yourself truly down. um Because even though you're not doing something, you might still be yelling at yourself in your mind about not getting something else done or not being enough of this and that. And that's a whole nother level of silence, right? Because you're trying, we're stuck in a state of fight or flight. A lot of people, a lot of people have disassociated, and I've created a course for embodiment, right? How to continue to be in your body and experience these things and lessen the chatter that's in the mind,
Mm,
lessen the violence that we put on ourselves on a daily basis because we think we're not X, Y, and Z enough, or the future could hold all this, or the past said all of that. But
mm,
right now is the only moment of power. And so getting someone into the now in their body, especially when they have physical pain or something like that, it's challenging, but it's worth it because life becomes richer, and the pursuit of our actual highest self and our actual sustainable happiness, that's going to get us to the other side of this whole sticky pulling back retrograde, right? And once you get to the heart of the matter, you open yourself up in a way that allows you to become new, allows you to become more of who you actually are, um, which is kind of stepping towards the lion's gate, right? It's that
Mm-hmm.
time of the year. Even though we're in a state of all planetary, like a lot of stripping back, and yes, we're exhausting the fact that things are freaking exhausting. we're like we're getting we're so irritated, like everybody when she read that list, who was like, oh yeah, I guess I have burnout, right?
mm.
We all felt like, I was like, everybody
TG
raised
said
their
I'm
hand
at
pretty
stage
much.
8 over here, and I'm stage 8. That's what TG said. I was like, I'm stage 8 here. So yeah.
We all felt in line with the burnout, which means our planet is in line with the burnout, which means we need to take
Mm-hmm.
time to assess what's actually sustainable. There's things that we're doing that are presumably good for her or good for us, but they're not. Like telling ourselves every day, you need to do more shadow work. You need to stare so hard at your darkest part of yourself that it's going to just burn right out of you. And it's like, no, maybe you're traumatizing yourself a little bit while you're trying to heal yourself.
That's
Right?
a
We don't pick the scab to heal the wound. We let the scab kind of let it do its thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You did a bunch of energy work. You don't need to go back and do that energy work every single day out to that depth. You actually just let some time go, let it kind of settle in, and then allow yourself to keep emerging. Like the chrysalis and the butterfly, it
mhm.
takes a little while to fully transform, but once you're transformed, you're transformed.
Right, and I'm totally agreeing about that. And just to circle back on the thing about sometimes if you don't jump, somebody else will do. Because I did the same thing. I had an idea for having a performing arts school, and I told that before even on the channel. Performing arts here on the South Side for kids to have. I didn't jump on it. That had been my dream forever. However, another young lady came up with the same one. However, she got Common, the rapper, to sign in on it. So again, like what April said, even though you had the skill set and the want and the drive to do it, but I don't have that connection
Mm-hmm.
the rapper to come in, and so she could take it to the next level where he could go and get donations from celebrities and things. It's like it would be done, and I'm sure the universe would supply me with that. But this lady knew how to take it to the next level, and so again, it's like okay, something about me at that point is like okay, you can't do it. And for me not to feel bad and to let somebody else to say, hey, I got it and I can take it and take it to the next level for everybody in the community's highest good. So that's it. Also, during these times, we have to remember that I read somewhere or somebody saying that, or maybe that was K Moon, and saying we might be finding us shifting our jobs, our occupations, and so we may not. That's what I've been saying it all along. I think I said that on the last playground. To saying, don't start setting everything in stone yet because you're going to find yourself saying, oh yeah, okay, scrap that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that okay, scrap that. You know, and right now they were saying, I think it might not have been her, it's somebody else that's saying, like, well, whatever it is that we're shifting in, the universe is pushing us because whatever it is, it was interesting, we're going to be doing for the next 3 years and 3 months. So we're finding ourselves doing like right now. It's probably good that we sit down and we let the dust settle.
Mm-hmm.
Or like I said, apple juice, and you shake it up, and all the settlement and this kind of seed. Let they say, let I can hear Captain D and her I self talk to me. Let the chips lay where they fall. That's her saying. I don't say that all the time. She always says that. And I hear her saying that to me. So this is where we are, where we're just letting it just fall. And let's just now you can see the pattern. Oh, okay. It landed there. Okay, yeah, yeah. Okay, I can deal with that. Okay, connect the dots. Yeah, I can do with that. Okay, yeah. Oh, wait, I don't like how that was. That's an outlier. That didn't land with the rest of them. So maybe I shouldn't do that job. Maybe that occupation could not also just be about your work, like Rihanna said, work, 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 work. But I'm saying how you work it, which again is how you are as far as making things manifest, or you're a magician or things in the world too. So you're going to have to kind of take that time. It's always good for you to stop. I always say, don't move until you see it. Anybody that plays chess, you don't see them just like tap, tap, tap. I take the pawn, the knight, the bishop, and all that stuff. You see them sit there and they ponder. It's always good for you to do that. I've also can hear April Williams say it's always good for you to take that string shot and reel back and then go. It's a pause. It's a moment of pause where you sit there and you look at everything, and then you're like, okay, now I know what to aim for. Ding! That's what we have to do. So right now, when we talk about even everybody, these ladies taking time out, it's like, okay, let me stop because I'm going like Stephanie said, I'm all these stages of burnout. I see the signs here. Now, if I want to keep on being this Olympian or keep on being this dynamic leader in the twin flame community, I want to keep on being the best mommy or keep on being the best furry mom or whatever, I've got to take a time out because they always say about that. You got to feed into your own self first before you can be able to pour that cup of love to anybody else. And so this is where we are when we're talking about this time out, this very much so needed. And the universe is putting on us too as well. We might get another time out with the way how COVID is going again, the elevations of numbers, where we got to go back again and read why a lot of times when we had those and we had that our bodies shut us down or we had that so-called hospital experience because again it's another way the universe saying I'm gonna knock you off your ass, go sit down up in that, have that hospital experience or whatever it is, or whatever it is that you're having and saying, okay, now I don't have my mobility or this and that is showing up in my body, because that's like another stage of your self telling you you didn't pay attention when I talked to you, but now I'm gonna start. My knee is hurting. Oh my God, I can't move forward. Okay, now that's what they're saying. It's a problem there. What side did it come on? Okay, if it's on your left side, whatever, the right side. So it's all a message to you to say, hey, you need to time out. Either you're moving too fast or you're going in the wrong direction, whatever it is, in your masculine side, as far as in the world, or if it's happening on your feminine side, that means inside, you're not listening why this is going on. And so that's another way for, like the athlete said, my body, this is mentally, this is breaking down, this is breaking down. We need to take time out and really say that. And I know sometimes a lot of people on the outside, they are relying on us, where that what is our children, our job, or parents, or our loved ones, or our partners, or whatever like that. But by us honoring ourselves, that's helping them to understand and say, hey, you know what? When I see mommy do it, guess what? That's what it should be for me then. Mommy takes time out. Mommy goes and take a spa day. Or mommy goes and closes and say, I'm taking a bath right now. So, it's my soak day or whatever. You hear the music on, I'm blasting and singing in the bathtub. Okay. So that'll help the child when she looks and she gets up older, or my son or whatever. Well, why I say that? But anyway, that's a group out there that comes up, they'll say, oh, I see mommy do it, so I know what to do. Everything is a ripple effect that happens. And so when you're doing that, you're not even just benefiting you're benefiting everybody else around us. That's why I say about the sun. Some of us, we are our central sun in our community, and everything else filtrates from that point on. So when you're taking that time out, know that you're helping others, even if they don't understand it. By you constantly putting your boundaries, as Stephanie said there, and saying, "Listen here, this is my time out. I'm turning off the TV. You want to watch TV? No, this is my time out where I need to unplug from all the social media stuff." Then you'll find other people around you is like, "Hey, what's up with you? I'm taking the unplug time. Oh, okay, I'm unplugging for the social. Oh, okay. Hmm.
A-
See,
and your body
right.
and your body and your mind notice when you don't do these things,
Yes.
right? So if you make a boundary with yourself, it's a commitment to yourself. You are honored to honor these things, right? And the universe is very helpful if you volunteer versus being forced into it, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
When you, it's like the listening thing. When you're listening, you know early on, hey, this type of food gives me some kind of issue. Maybe I'm actually sensitive to it, or I need to detox or something like that because I've become food sensitive. Not, I'm just going to ignore it and stuff it down with a lot of comfort foods or things that remind me of childhood, but actually aren't healthy or helping heal or grow my body, you know, to its optimum level. And simple things like I'm going to drink extra water a day. Don't make it too complicated, right? If you add 15 things to your list of things that suddenly have to become the thing that make you get to the place you want to get, that's not exactly sustainable. But the small little things like I'm going to spend 5 minutes in meditation a day. And then maybe a couple weeks later, I'm going to spend 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night. Or I'm going to add in 5 minutes of journaling or, just something
Right.
like that. Very, very simple, easy techniques that are going to give you so much more grace and power in this period, especially since all of these planets are saying slow down, reflect. Everything's clearing. There's stuff that's not working within you, there's stuff that's not working on the outside of you. How are you going to flow them together? And then also keeping your boundaries, right? Because the only reason we learn about our boundaries is because they get crossed. And my friend, and I noticed this in an ex of mine, they grew up in environments where their boundaries were not respected or understood,
Mm.
right? Or that they weren't even allowed to have boundaries, so they didn't know how to understand it or create the space for their own boundaries, let alone respecting others boundaries, right? So they would often end up with certain types of reflections back, aka people being angry or upset or getting into too many fights because they didn't understand the boundary concept. But if you voluntarily choose to learn, hey, I didn't have any boundaries. What are those? I should learn to respect them. Let me study them a little bit. It's going to be a far less painful of an oscillation, right? When you choose to learn them voluntarily, right? When you choose to give up the food thing, or when you choose to do the meditation, it's it's a different way of entering into it energetically, and so you receive a lot easier, and the change and the growth is happens a lot easier. Sometimes things are still painful. Don't get me wrong. If you're going through physical therapy or if you're doing stuff to care for your body, that could sometimes be
Mm.
painful. Or if you're going through to
Okay,
release,
well, we're almost done.
if you're going through to release like pain and stuff like that, from a heartache or from some kind of sexual trauma, you need to make sure that you have the proper people set up around you, like the proper, mental health specialists and all these things.
Right.
But then that you have someone you can talk to. You have a parachute, or you have something set up in your network that fosters your growth out of that. Not just I got triggered by somebody saying something really loudly to someone in a parking lot, and now I'm weeping in a grocery store, sobbing about how I lost my childhood to XYZ. I'm extrapolating some extremely dramatic situation, but it does happen that way. You don't need to twist your ankle the way that I did.
Hmm.
Just say I need to work less hours. I need to spend more time taking care of myself.
Right.
Yeah.
We also need to stay in the present. That's
True.
Mhm.
something now we've really got to work on. We've done the manifesting. We've gone through all of these different things, and now we need to stay in the present and both Divine Sunshine and April have, if you go back to some of our earlier work that we did, some of when you're talking about the traumas and stuff, Divine Sunshine, that we did, what, almost 2 years ago, and
Mhm.
you had all of that, and the whole, almost like a workbook.
Mhm.
Those are some wonderful ways of staying in the present, being in the present. And if you guys haven't done April's videos with her meditations and just the breathing, I will tell you today, with the situation, coming out of anesthetic and things like that, the breathing helped me so much. I just sat there and did square breathing. And as I heard, bless her heart, and I sent the woman love and light and energy if she wanted it, kind of thing. On the other side of the curtain, she was in such an influx of trauma, terror. I
Mm.
mean, it was everything. And she'd gone through the same procedure I had. And literally, here I am, in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4, in for 4, and I'm not saying it out loud, because I've gotten to the point now where I do it in my mind naturally. And I said to the nurse when she came to check on me, she was like, "Oh, your blood pressure's down, you're doing great." And I just looked at her and I said, "That lady needs to breathe." And she just smiled big at me and she said, "What do you do, yoga?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Well," I said, Reiki and hypnotherapy and, life coaching and things. And she was like, I said, "And just wellness." I said, "Just taking care of myself and learning to breathe through situations." And she said, "We need you in here on a weekly basis." She said, "Because that lady is nothing compared to what we see."
Oh, wow.
And I
And
was like,
there's a big call right now to staying in body. So that was the
mm-hmm,
shift. Also, I was going to put in for energy.
mm-hmm,
So the divine feminine has chosen to be present, right? Which means she's also chosen to embody, which means there's a whole lot of triggering going on,
Mm.
mm-hmm,
because staying embodied means that people have to actually internalize and alchemize the pains that they have been pushing themselves out of.
Mhm.
So addictions are really up in the rise. There's also like a whole level of fight or flight, right? There's
mm-hmm,
all the addictions, basically the eating, the shopping, the drugs, all the things. But at the same time, there's also a whole set of awakenings that are happening. And so she's saying, okay, here I am. I'm slowing down. Okay, I have this type of physical pain. Okay, I'm slowing down and acknowledging it. Okay, I have these types of emotional triggers and pains. I'm going to acknowledge it. Oh, hey, they're tied into these memories or these perceived ideas of the future as well. I'm slowing down and I'm integrating all of them at once, which, if you really want a one-on-one coach for that, I know we offer a collection to help you break through. We have our 8 Lionsgate next week
mm-hmm.
on Divine Sunshine's channel for free. We're going to have a lot of really cool stuff going on there. Um, I'm doing an embodiment class, a 9-week inner alchemy course. Kathy D's got some courses, right?
I've got my
And you got your
course up,
workbook?
and yeah, I got my course up, my workbook, and so and it's 97, but I mean, there, you walk away with everything and then some. I mean, really, and then there's just wonderful opportunities to be able to, it's got a Facebook group that's tied to it and everything, and that goes on the fully on sale. It's like one of those the soft opening, like we used to call them in advertising, and a restaurant would open first to make sure they didn't kill anybody, and then, or Disney, they put all the employees on the ride and make sure nobody falls off, and then we open it to the public.
There go Disney.
Um, yeah, it's the soft opening to go ahead and pre-buy, and is out there, and so yeah, it's there, and there's just so many, once you get through that first step that you have to do, just so many more things start coming to you, and ways of helping people, and really that's where we have to get with this as divine feminines and divine masculines. It's not so many people think, oh, well, we do this to make money. And well, no, we do this to be of service to others. We should always over give. And that's what we're doing with the 8-8. This is free. Divine Sunshine could definitely sell this easily with everybody that's there. I mean, if you were going to put a monetary value on it, for a cheap would be $50 a person. And that's just with general information, take your own notes. If she wanted to go in and have each of us do like a workbook section or a binder of some kind, I mean, she could easily charge $100. She could do an up, a bonus for the next level of 8-8. And then that after the show, there was going to be a one-on-one. You'd have Zoom time with all of the speakers. I mean, there's so many ways, but she is being so of service to everybody, giving this to you freely because she knows we need it with what's going on right now.
Right.
We really need to be present. We've got to stop picking those scabs. Leave them alone. Let them heal. It's saying right now we're also going back and looking at 2019. All right. And when they say things like that, and I've heard people and I've talked to people that say, well, I thought I cleared everything from 2019. Well, now I'm going to have to go back and dig. No, no, no. What you need to deal with will come up to you. Don't go back and rehash all of that if it's healed. I dealt a lot with abandonment 2019. It was a rough year. But I'll tell you, when I saw the DM, that abandonment was gone. And I knew it was gone. And it was all right, we got this. So now I get to look and see what not look, but see what comes up that also was going on
Where
in
is it?
2019. Not as much with the divine masculine, but with the journey, it really encompasses all of our lives. And I really think mine is moving toward career.
Yeah.
And so that's where things are going to wiggle. And before I always told myself I was a team player. Oh yeah, you need me there, I'll go do that. You need me to do this, I'll go do that. Well, this year I'm being asked to teach 2 subjects that I'm not certified in. And one subject has made me literally lose sleep over. And so when we go back to school on Tuesday, I am literally going to the principal and saying, I feel uncomfortable teaching this and I really don't want to. I would appreciate it if you would find someone else to teach this course. I'll take on the original math courses, but I don't want to teach science. I don't want to. And it's funny because it's Earth and space science. Do you know how bad I could mess up those kids when we start talking about planets going into retro and the full moon? And I could make it a whole metaphysical class. But the thing with that is I have to teach what the county says at that exact time. They should be able to walk from my classroom to the other science teacher's classroom and never miss a beat. We should literally be on the same sentence. And I can't, because I know there's so many other wonderful things about the planets and about the universe and about the galaxies out there. I can't just keep it to the mundane. I can't be of service to this next generation if I have to stifle my voice for the man, for be the status quo. So I think that's where we have to now in our career not only set boundaries as we are in our personal lives, we have to set boundaries in our career and say, you know what, I'm not going to do that. I'm not. That is not me. I can't do that. And well, you know what? If you don't like it, I'll do it as long as I can until you can find somebody else.
Right. And
Don't.
oh, I'm sorry. Go on.
Oh no, it's like don't expect miracles.
Right. And another way of flipping that, and let's look on the other side of the coin, is, and I think Kay Mooney spoke about that too. Some of us are also being pushed that, okay, let's say Kathy D says she can't, but and she understands her limitation. Let's say that again, let's go to an alternate timeline, and let's say a parallel universe where Kathy D is like, I don't know this subject, but you know what, gosh darn it, I'm gonna find a way how I can weave what I know is my spiritual thing and also what they want me to do from the book and find a way I can weave both of them together. We are also being pushed to do that, to take our skill set from our spiritual walk and spiritual leaders, and to find a way to how we can mesh those two worlds together. That's where we're coming in it to start something new, to bust up the status quo as well. Some of us are asked to be doing that as well. So it depends on where you are within your ego. I mean, or not ego, and where you are ego as far as pushing you to say they want to do it. And it's not an ego thing. Like, I'm fearful because if I don't do this or I don't want to do this, and it's telling you don't do it, and spirit is saying, let's do this and let's see how we can blend that. That's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have to figure about that in. So that's another thing that it just jumped on in. But again, as far as where are we are as in our heart too. If our heart's not in it, no, don't do it. But if you feel something is like, it's burning, it's like I might can do something with that. Then define a way that how you can be able to marry the two. We are being pushed to do that and find ourselves. They saying some of, I think Kate Moon said it too, that some of us are might be being pushed to kind of leave the spiritual 100% and walk into where we are as the regular not well 9 to 5 set, and find a way of how we can take our skill sets from the spiritual. There goes my
I live next door to a fire department, so I'm like, if
but it's still
it,
kind on time though, so I don't care like that. You can't on that.
so it's the core of the matter is what is in your heart, right? And
Right.
since we're in this reflective period right here by the Lion's Gate, it's a good opportunity to find out what's in your heart. You can be driven in all kinds of directions.
True.
Just be aware of where that motivation is coming from,
Right.
because there's the fear love paradigm is shifting out, right? And so now you get to actually integrate all the wild little newbies that are coming in here, because they're coming in with as much grace as possible. And so how much grace can you give yourself and heal that part? How much grace can you give your parents and heal that part? How much grace can you heal societal stuff that's been harboring deep within your DNA throughout your lineage, right? Even within your societal stuff. No, we're very resistant to healing those parts because it's dark. The stuff that we went through was really the dark ages. The stuff that people suffered, it's all coming out right now.
It is.
The atrocities on this planet that have occurred from person to person, and you have a right to feel all the ways you feel. You have a right to be acknowledged for all the things that have happened for you and your loved ones, or your unspoken parents, or yeah, I mean you know your ancestors, because a lot of the stuff is ancestral coming out too. That's deep. You want me to tie your hair? Get the hair tie. No. How come you want me to tie your hair, but then you don't want to get the hair tie? That's a metaphor for life, right? What do we want, and why aren't we allowing ourselves to have it? And what are we fussing about for no good reason? And it's usually just us being hard on ourselves, or impatient with the world. Impatient because we think that there's no time. Impatient because we think we're supposed to have our hair tied now, right? And the internet does not help with that, because everything is just a click away. But it turns out my enlightenment, like I can click on it for a second, but how do I click on it for longer? How do I get to watch that show? How do I get to watch myself loving myself, right? For the rest of my life. I'm going
Yeah.
to start with a hug.
I love myself.
Self-care. Self-care.
And we have been saying that the whole time we have been on, in one way or another. And if you haven't gotten it, listen clearly. You want the quick, fast, easy, down and dirty way to get through this and make your journey lovable, enjoyable, the most fantastic journey and adventure you've ever been on? Self-care, self-love. If you don't get anything else hammered through your head from all the times of listening to us,
Right.
you got to get that. You've got to get that, because until you do that, it's not going to fall into place. You do that and it starts falling into place. Trust me, I had to listen to the whole cockpit air thing about put the oxygen mask on yourself. Best part is they've added a new little part to it, which is remove your mask and then put the oxygen cup on. And I thought, really? Okay. But so once again, we've got to move what's in our way
I like that.
to be able to take care of ourselves before we can move for others what might be in their way, say their little man's age. You've got to move that off to take care of him. But first, you've got to take care of you and move those things out of your way.
Yeah.
I really love that because that's the new earth paradigm, right? How are you supposed to clear your twins' chakras and energies and all this stuff if you're not even willing to look at and acknowledge what's happening in yours? How am I going to say to my son, love yourself unconditionally, but then I'm going to like secretly say negative things towards myself about any part of mine,
Mm-hmm.
right?
It's it's easier to fix others than it is ourselves. And
But
That's what we
how
perceive.
successfully are we fixing others? You know, what is it? There's the one Bible verse about the stick in your eye.
mm-hmm.
And you can't help someone else until you remove your own stick, because that's blinding your vision on it. So if you're not taking care of your people pleasing, you
Right.
know, addiction, and really and truly, if you watch people, and I did, I watched a whole family this last week with it. And it was an addiction, because when people were like, oh, that's wonderful, yes, let's do it, that's fantastic, they got this rush, this high from it, but then would sit there sad because they didn't get what they needed.
Mm,
And it was like, why do you do, well, I just want everybody to be happy. No, everybody will be happy when you're happy.
right. That's what's up.
And that was a really long and hard talk with mom, having to explain
You
that
know,
ultimately we all just want her to be happy, and we'll be happy when she's happy,
Mm,
not when she's
and
putting
and
herself
when
second.
I want to put this out there too, like when you're really happy, it doesn't matter if someone else is happy or not
Mm.
because you know that their mood is changing. They
Mhm.
know that that mood. You want to make a flower? Okay. He's obsessed with slime. We made slime. One science experiment, and it's just like off the chain. Anyway, falling in love with yourself is as simple as allowing yourself to be accepted for everything that you have and everything, and it okay for everything that you don't have. And
Mhm.
and once you realize that you've kind of the world's been designed, marketed to you in a way, because we're living in a consumer society right now, um, and the world is changing. So once we get off of needing to consume positive words for us or belief systems of how other people should be in their state, sometimes people need to cry. Like I remember, was it you who was saying that there was a little boy who told another teacher off, who said that I have permission to cry. I just feel like crying right now, and it's okay that I'm doing this. You know, it wasn't a matter of harden up or be this or that. It was, yeah, you're right. You have the absolute right to feel your emotions, and it shouldn't be affecting me either way. I shouldn't be telling you whether or not you need to smile and this and that and the other thing.
Mhm.
Just let you have your space, let you have your feeling, and you get to have that, and other people do too.
yeah.
That's why.
Another student was telling the other one, telling him not to cry, and I told him
And
do that. Let him go on ahead and let him express it. That's the way he wants to feel. That does that. And then she changed her mind about how she was saying it to him. She's like, yeah, just express yourself. Just go on ahead and cry, so and so. Just cry. I'm like, okay. So I guess that's it.
And it's the same thing, we want to save our twins, right? We want them to not have to suffer and XYZ. Well, guess what? Maybe that's what they signed up to do. And it's our lesson to sit back, to have to learn to sit back and say, it's okay that people learn their lessons the way they choose to.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay for people to feel the emotions. Now, I'm not saying if you're called to do something, don't do it. Just realize where you are, in fact, codependent. Because I think that's one of the major things is where our society, we function, our species, we function as a group species. So of course we're caught some codependency. I mean, look,
The
I'm still
communal.
changing diapers, right? Yeah, community.
Hmm.
Raising food, feeding all of us, that takes many hands, right?
Right.
So of course we're gonna be, how's your energy today? But it really doesn't fully change who you are or your emotions if somebody isn't up to where you think they should be to be in your energy field. And that's something that the spiritual community, I think, they're very big on cancel culture for some reason, right? If they're not doing the right thing, then let's cancel them. um, Not everybody is going to be on the same page. Not that you need to cancel everyone all the time. Just realize that maybe that space isn't correct for you, and you might even be misinterpreting it because of your ego or the parts that trigger you, right? I mean, I know I've shut off some readings and stuff. I actually stopped listening to a lot of readings because
Mm-hmm.
there's just there's a lot of what they call conjecture inside of it. So someone's opinion, they're saying it's a spiritual fact, but it's clearly like, this is the He-Man woman hating club over here.
Yeah. I used to belong there till I seen the lie. I was like, this is not working. It's triggering me, and I'm going down the rabbit hole with this mess. So I do understand that, but yeah, it is. And you've got to become, like you say, your own guru in this whole
Mm-hmm.
thing of understanding as far as what is your truth, what is your divine truth, not what somebody else says, because facts are changing every day, and we're going to find out everything that even what we're saying we might find out years from now or a day from now or an hour from now, whatever, that what we're saying is like, okay, there's a potential for it to change even with that. So we have to, just remember that too, as well as we're listening to people and dealing with things. All we can do is everybody, this is an experiential experience where we're experiencing these things and we're telling you what we know to be true for us at that moment. And I know some of those people, they believe they're telling their truth in some ways. But again, that's what we got to be smart and use our intuition, going circling back to what Kathy did. Add that on to that, your intuition and your awareness to help you to understand the difference and to discern. I think that's a good way to end right there, folks. We have went almost to 1:30, but that's because we were making up for last week because we missed you so. But we were taking our must needed self love. It says self improvement. These words that's slipping in my mouth is interesting. Self improvement day.
Follow that intuition.
Right. So that's what we were working on, improving ourselves so we can be able to level up for today. So don't forget, next week, next Sunday, yes, a week from now, we have the 8-8 event at 2 p.m. Central. We got all these great people. Just make sure that you come here with your notebooks and you're all ready for you to do your yoga too as well. Kathy D said it all. I can't even go back over again, but we got everything that you need through journaling. Also, social media maven is going to be on here helping us to be able to rebirth. We have our yoga person, Jamie Cavens, is going to come back again and do her yoga segment. We're going to close out with her for a whole hour of yoga this time. So she's going to do that. And then as well, so as we got our lovely April, whatever spirit tell her to do, we're going to have our family panel discussion. April is going to get back on there with us with Benita from Wave of a Beautiful Warrior, myself, and Stephanie Gibbs. They gave the good information. She was doing her self-care thing, her self-love thing. She's like, I'm going to the park, but I will send you some information. I can't be on there. I said, lovely, that's fine. Give it to me. So that's what we have here. And who else? And Angel S. Simmons. Now she talked about narcissism last time. Now it's going to help us to understand how we can rebirth ourselves after being in a narcissistic relationship or connection. So it's got all those wonderful things in there. So again, be there, take advantage of it, especially while we have a COVID, because when we get out of this, then we'll be like what Kathy D is talking about. There might be some money or monumental money involved next. But until then, that we're in this situation, I want to make sure that you do ascend. And if I can truly give you the keys to help you to ascend to go to the next level, I'll make sure that I will be that channel for the universe to use me and get the other people that are on board. They're ready for the universe to use them to get that to you. All right, then, ladies, let's close this on out of here. All right, Kathy D, what's happening? Get us out.
All right, so go ahead and clean up all of your sand toys. Get the socks, get the shoes. Let me try that again. Get your own shoes and socks. Empty the sand out of them. Put them on. Clean up your You can tell it's time for pain medicine, can't you? Um, clean up your stuff and make it a better place than you found it. Have a good evening. Wishing you the best life ever. Mwah.
It's
There we go.
officially my favorite accent of yours.
Yes.
It's like she went New York on me, huh? Um,
Well, I did drive a car all week from Massachusetts, so I parked the car in Harvard Yard all week.
oh,
So,
Boston,
Yeah, but I heard,
Boston.
I heard it Boston. I know it's somewhere Jersey, New York. See, some up in that Eastern. Okay, go on.
Stay blessed, stay golden, and remember, you were made for this golden life.
All right, and as always, stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascending. Namaste and namago. All right, until next time, see you next week, and we'll be talking to you real soon. And on the